Yo, what's happening, people? And welcome back to the Tiki Taka podcast, where you're going to hear hot takes, unbiased opinions, and hopefully have a couple laughs along the way. And a lot of things have happened in the last couple of days, so we'll try and touch on all the main points. But we'll start off with arguably the biggest news, and the Premier League has had their first managerial sacking of the season. And Erik Ten Hag has finally been sacked a year and a couple of months into podding.
Oh, I thought he was going to say, it's wait at 2 years.
Yeah, no, a year and a couple of months into podding. Ten Hag's been a guy that we've killed a lot.
Yeah.
We won't have the chance to kill him anymore.
I'm actually really going to miss Ten Hag.
And it's looking like Ruben Amorim's going to be the new manager.
Mm-hmm.
So, any thoughts on Amorim? What do you think he might do?
I think no one, unless you're a Portuguese person or you follow the Portuguese league, no one should really have too much to say about Amorim. I feel like he's a bit of an unknown quantity. He was obviously touted by some top clubs. Liverpool wanted him last year, famously. West Ham were looking at him. I think it's sort of pretty safe to say he'll be better than Ten Hag.
Yeah,
but I think the good and bad about Amorim is that he's an unknown quantity. I would love to come up here and slate him, shit on him, say that he's going to be terrible and look at what he's done in the past and he was terrible at this club and he was terrible at that club. But from my understanding, it was Porto and Benfica that had a stranglehold of the Portuguese league, and Amorim's actually won a couple of trophies with the Sporting Lisbon. So he seems to have taken a club in the Portuguese league from periphery to challengers.
He obviously knocked out Arsenal in that Europa League.
Yeah, but it's going to be a big job for him. All this small boy stuff in the Portuguese league is going to be nothing compared to what he's going to have to do at United. And I think the more interesting thing about Amorim isn't actually tactically for me, because obviously Ten Hag was so bad tactically and squad building wise. We've had many episodes about how bad we think Ten Hag is. It's gonna be charisma wise and just mentality wise. Does he have the mentality to actually take on the Man United job? Because it's a big job. It involves somebody who has to have a big personality, and it'll be interesting to see if Amorim has the personality to deal with. One thing I will give Ten Hag credit for is, whilst tactically he was very poor, and I don't think he had enough charisma, I do think that he made big decisions. At least wasn't afraid to make him. Try and get rid of Ronaldo, try and get rid of Sancho, bench him, send them down to under 18s or wherever it is to train. And Amorim is going to have those moments. He's going to have to do something with Rashford. Either play him, get the best out of him, or cut him. I'm not in my plans type of thing. And it's going to be interesting just to see if he has that killer, that dog in him, that mentality in him. Because other than that, not much to go on.
Yeah.
It could be a hit, could be a miss. Kind of like Slot at the beginning of the season. I didn't want to kill Slot too much because I didn't actually know what Slot is like. And we've just had the whole thing with Arteta where it's you can kill a manager before he steps into the club. But if he actually turns out to be all right, you got to eat your words. So it'll be interesting. It will be interesting. I think as well.
Do you reckon he could get top 4?
This season?
Yeah.
Nah. Only because of the Man United squad. He would have to create a dirty system, which Portuguese managers could do. But I still don't know if there's enough goals in the Man United team to get top 4. I still don't know if there's enough clean sheets in the Man United team to get top 4. I think there's a big mess that Ten Hag has sort of left them with. But I think they could get 6th at their best. If things were to really, really, really turn around, I think they could get 6th. I was going to say, I think the most interesting thing is how quickly this Amorim thing has come about.
Yeah.
Ten
Hag was literally sacked yesterday, and by the evening they had Amorim.
It makes you wonder the whole summer what was going on. If Amorim was willing to leave his contract, I hear Sporting are 9 from 9. 30 goals
scored.
West
Ham talking to him in the summer, isn't it?
30 goals scored, 3 goals conceded, or wherever it was. If Amorim was willing to leave the project this early into the season, why not just grab him in the summer? He would have left in the summer, surely. I think that's the bit where Ineos are gonna have to win fans over, or win like casuals over, or whatever the expression is, and people who are judging them in terms of how good they are at running a football club. It's like, calm, Amarom's in now, but you've just spent the summer back in Ten Hag, bringing in Ten Hag players. Is Xerxes a Ten Hag signing? Is he a club signing? Is Ogata obviously worked with Amarim before, so maybe you could get the best out of him. Maybe that was in mind or whatever it was, but Euro, all these other guys that Ten Hag has sort of signed, is that a Amarim signing? Like, was that a club signing, or was that a Ten Hag signing? Like, is Amarim going to come in and say some of the guys that you've brought in the summer have to go? Because then that is poor business in my mind, or that is a poor way to do things.
Yeah. I think. Well, it looked like that Amarim wasn't even part of their shortlist in the summer.
I think they must. They said they spoke to 8 managers, and he was speaking to Liverpool, speaking to West Ham. I just surely, like, football is a big small world. Like, clubs know who's speaking to who, or what could happen. Someone must have had a conversation with him.
But why would they not have appointed them in the summer?
That's my point with Ineos. That's literally my question is, why did you do 9 games with Ten Hag? Was Ten Hag on like a 10-game contract, 6-game contract on like, we'll see what you can do for the first 5-6 games. If you do well, you stay. Or when was this decision to sack Ten Hag made? When was this decision that Amarom's the best guy? Because it came around so quickly. If it was a situation where it was like Ruud was interim manager for a couple of months and then Amarom comes in, I could have said maybe they interviewed him and they didn't really think he was so, or like maybe.
But Amorim was clearly desperate to go to the Premier League in the summer, right?
Why not do this? Why not do this 3 months ago? Get Amarim signings in.
So if United wanted him, I feel like they would have had him. But
I think it's tough to see. It's tough to rumor has it that United spoke to 8 managers, like Tuchel being one of them, Potter being one of them, so 6 managers. I think it'll be tough in my mind for United to have spoken to 6 other managers and not thought about Amorim, or at least try to have an interview, especially if Liverpool thought he was good enough to manage them. You know, West Ham had before Lopetegui had done what he's done. West Ham were looking to push into the top 8 based on the transfers that they had made. Yeah. So I just think, like, I would love to have seen the shortlist if Man United spoke to 6 other managers.
But I think if they wanted Amorim in the summer, I think they would have had Amorim in the summer. Like I said, he was clearly desperate to come to the Premier League.
I can't see who else they would have spoken to if they weren't speaking to Amorim. If they weren't speaking to Amorim, Tuchel, Potter,
those are things we don't know. We'd have to like just go into extra analysis.
I think it's entirely plausible that Man United thought that Ten Hag would do better than he's done this season, and then therefore they might have spoken to Amorim in the summer, but thought, like they did with seemingly all the other managers that they spoke to, either not for now, he hasn't accepted the offer, or he's not currently better than our guy. Yeah. So I agree. If they wanted Amorim in the summer, it would have been done in the summer, but it doesn't explain why they've got Amorim a day after Ten Hag has been sacked. That looked like it was almost agreed before.
Because of how desperate he is to come to the league.
Ten Hag
I really don't think... I think Amorim, as soon as he would have had that first call from Man United, like the reports from Ornstein came out early, and there were reports that Omar Barada was talking to Xavi last week. So I think they knew they were going to sack Ten Hag, right? Or they knew that was very much on the horizon, and they were going out talking to whoever. Maybe they'd been talking to Amorim for the last week and a half or whatever, and eventually they've come to the decision now where he's the guy that they want. But I think he can come in and do pretty well. I think I've said that consistently on it. I think Ten Hag was in the bottom 3 managers in the league. I think Amorim will come and probably be at least top 10. So that's a massive jump.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. I think the quality of Amorim is obviously yet to be seen, but I think the quality of the squad is more gonna like make up people's minds about how good a manager he is in the first couple of months. Like, he could eventually be a top 10 manager. He could be a top 10 manager as soon as he comes in, but he's got to try and find a system that works with what I think is like a haphazard squad. Like, it's not a terrible squad. It's not a squad that should finish 15th. It's definitely a squad that should finish in the top half of the table. But how much into that half of the table, I legitimately don't know.
Or we said that, like, they've got the 6th best squad in the league.
Yeah,
when we spoke about Tuchel and Ten Hag and that. So if he finishes anywhere below that, he probably hasn't done very well. If he finishes 7th, 8th, 9th, then that's a bad season, and Amorim hasn't done what he's needed to do. But if he finishes 6th or above, then he's probably done all right.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be as black and white as that. Like 14th, where they are right now, if they were to finish 7th, that's Conference League, yeah. Or like it won't be a great season, but Man United fans might say, considering where we were, considering where we started, I'll take a comfortable 7th place.
Yeah, but I don't think that's right, because at the moment they're 6 points off top 4.
Yeah, could even be less,
which is nothing. So you can easily make that up. So if he finishes a long way off it, then like we'll be able to see from the results and stuff that things just haven't gone.
I think honestly, I think 6th is about the best he could do, and I wouldn't necessarily say that he's had a bad season if he comes in and finishes 7th or finishes 8th. Like it really depends on. I think the issue is we don't actually know how good some of these players are.
It wouldn't necessarily be a bad season, but if he finishes 7th or 8th, he hasn't done what he's needed to do, because they haven't brought him in to get worse or stay the same as last year. Right, Ten Hag probably would have finished 7th or 8th.
I don't think he was. I don't think he would have. I think people were saying that.
I mean, he did last year.
Yeah, but I think you literally just said he's bottom 3 managers in the league. Like, I think.
But then his squad will raise him up there.
It's not that Ten Hag couldn't have finished 7th or couldn't have finished 8th. I honestly was starting to believe the way things were going, that Man United fans would be the team that wins once every 3, 4, 5 weeks in the Premier League, and that could generally get you 11th.
I don't think they were ever going to be
9th.
That team.
I think that's why Man United fans. Sorry, I think that's why Ineos made the decision that they made. It was like, how long do you wait?
No, I think they made the decision they made because they can't finish 8th again.
Yeah, how long do you wait before you start to see the signs that Ten Hag can actually push this team up the table when you haven't won a game in Europe?
Like, Ten Hag should have been sacked a month ago.
Should have been sacked in the summer.
Yeah,
that's my point. But
even once they decided, we'll keep him in the summer, he still should have been sacked a month ago.
Ten Hag, yeah.
When they after they lost to Tottenham, that should have been it. When they lost 3-0 at home to Tottenham,
maybe that's when they started interviewing Amorim.
Yeah, potentially.
I just think that the measurement for success for Man United this season is going to be so shaky, because if Amorim comes in and he finishes 8th or whatever it will be, I think people will say, but look at Ten Hag's record, look at what Ten Hag did for the first 9 games. If he has a full season underneath him, that excuse will be there. If Amorim comes in and finishes 6th, then it's going to be, amazing, miracle manager, look at what he's done. But I still don't necessarily think that it will be.
No, I don't think it will be miracle manager stuff.
Okay, well, they'll say
if he gets top 4,
they'll say he's pulled
then
up.
I think that's miracle manager.
They'll say he's pulled up 3 stumps and he's really impressed in his first. And I don't know. I'm also somewhere in the middle, because I don't think that Amorim gets a free ride for the rest of the year. I don't think he can finish 12th and be like. I don't think he can finish. But
So for me, if they finish lower than 6th, Amorim hasn't done what he should have done.
I agree that I agree with United fans. I was hearing some United fans say that, like, for them the most important thing is an identity and a style of play. I think that is an easier measurement, and I know the table ultimately is the measurement for success. But I think for Man United fans to feel happy of, like, are we going to go into this next season with this manager, or am I going to sort of have a club to support again week in, week out? I feel like the style of play, the identity of football, having an idea of who their best lineup is, all those other stuff might be easier for Amorim to find success in than to finish 6th, 7th, 5th, whatever it might be. I feel like, luckily for him, Ten Hag was so bad that other tangibles can make a season a success beyond just the results. For Ten Hag, it had to be about results because he had 3 years. Yeah. Amorim can, I'm sure the United fans will be gearing up to write off this season to give him a saving grace period. and they'll say, "Oh, you know, Arteta came in halfway through, he finished 8th," and like all of that, all of those excuses.
Style of play.
All those excuses are coming, but if Amorim doesn't have a style of play by the end of the season or by January or whatever it is by March, then Man United fans that's when the pressure will start to come, and that's when they're like,
but I think they'll even still look at it and they'll still think
he's got to have summer windows and he's got to get his players in and
get his players and all of that stuff.
The measurement for this guy, bro.
But we should see something. We should see something.
It can't be as bad as it's been.
Amorim wants to play.
Yeah, and you know, I back him. You've said this before about Portuguese managers. I back Amorim to create a system that will allow the players to look better than they've been, or to allow them to reach their potential, potentially get to 6th or whatever it will be.
I think he's a good coach.
But I still don't know, even with the system in place, even whilst players are looking better, if Man United have enough goals. Obviously, there's a January window. We'll see what happens. But like, for Man United to finish above the Brightons and the X, Y, and Zs, like somebody's going to have to get more goals than Welbeck. And it's not like Welbeck's going to score 15, 16, 17.
But again, I mean, they had that last year under Ten Hag. They finished above Brighton. They were able to score more goals.
Yeah. No, I agree with that point.
Now they've got a better manager. Hopefully they look to score more goals.
But I think Man United have a better squad than Brighton. But Brighton, obviously under Hersler, know their system. They know like who's going to be the goal scorer, who's going to be the creator, who's going to be the provider, this kind of stuff. And I just don't know if Amorim necessarily has those pieces. And obviously it's for him to find out. But between Højlund and Xerxes, someone's going to have to match Danny Welbeck's output. Someone's going to have to better Danny Welbeck's output. Someone's going to have to better...
Would you say the same thing for Tottenham as well then?
Yeah, but I think for Tottenham, they have different issues in the sense of like, unfortunately, they have their piece. Tottenham know who their 20-goal a season striker should be. They should know where their 10 goals, 10 assists are coming from. Like they have Solanke, they have Son. I think Man United are still figuring out between Xerxes and Højlund who's the number one guy. Between Casemiro,
but Solanke's not scoring 20 goals.
He's not, but at least Tottenham know.
We don't know Solanke will score more than Højlund.
No, we don't. But they've identified who their striker is. They've identified who it's meant to be, who's meant to be the goal scorer. It's up to Ange to create the system to get the best out of Solanke. They know, apart from like Man United, Tottenham's midfield is still up in the wind, but Man United know. They're trying to choose between Casemiro and Ugarte, who's the better 6. You've got Mount, who's the better 10, between Mount and Bruno, and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. I feel like Tottenham have a solid back four. They know who their back four is. I know Ange changes the midfield around a lot, but they know that probably Bentancur or Basuma have to be in every midfield that they have. Maddison will be in a lot of their midfield lineups. Yeah. Kulusevski seems like he's going to be in a lot of their midfield lineups. Like Tottenham, whatever you think of the pieces is a different thing, but they know who their pieces are and what output they should expect from those pieces. Man United, I feel like are still in a phase of figuring out, like between Mazraoui and Dalot, I still don't know if they know who's the better left back and who's the better right back, like who should be playing where. You know,
but those are all things that obviously, hopefully,
he figures out.
United fans, Amorim can figure out.
Yeah, and so now it's like he's got to figure that out pretty quickly, and he's got to get them to a level where they're outperforming the Estupinians. If they're going to target 8th place, they have to knock off Estupinian. They have to knock off, like, I don't know who's in 9th.
But seeing as they did that last year, I don't think it's that deep for them.
Well, no 2 seasons are the same. I don't think Man United, just because they finished 6th last year, are going to like surge up the table. Yeah, like I don't know I think Fulham are a better team this year than they were last year.
They had their worst ever season last year, and they've got a better manager now.
Yeah, but you know, football doesn't necessarily work like that.
Like in Man United's worst ever season, they still had enough to be better than Estupinian and Danny Welbeck.
And this is like, and this is obviously under a fair assumption that Amorim's better than Ten Hag, but he might struggle just as much as Ten Hag has. He might look at Ten Hag's pieces and think, I can't really create a system here for this. Like, my point is, Amorim's got to come in, find a system, and get the players to a level where they're outperforming the Fulhams and the Brightons and the teams who I think are going to be finishing between 10th and 8th. Yeah, and I think that is kind of a big ask, and that's why I think the position in which they finish in the table, it will be neither here nor there for fans about his success for the season. It's the style of play. It's creating the system. It's making sure that the players do get to a level.
No, but they still have to finish in a respectable position.
They have to finish on the top half of the table. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think
not just top half.
I don't think Man United fans would like lose their rag if Amorim finished 8th or Amorim finished 9th. I don't think they would lose their rag.
I think they would.
I feel like they've been through the worst of Ten Hag already.
Yeah,
I don't think they would lose their 9th.
That's even worse than Ten Hag.
Yeah, but they would blame it on Ten Hag still, wouldn't they? They would say Ten Hag squad.
They wouldn't be able to. They wouldn't. Like I said, they're 6 points off top 4.
You don't think Man United fans would say that this is Ten Hag's squad and Amorim needs to get his squad and Amorim needs to get his players?
If they finish 9th, I don't think Man United fans would think that's acceptable.
It's not about what it's
because the whole thing was they had their worst ever season last year,
and a lot of Man United fans wanted Ten Hag in.
If they're happy to finish 9th, they could have kept Ten Hag. He probably would have done better.
There's a lot of Man United fans wanted Ten Hag in at the end of last season, under their worst ever season.
Yeah, after the FA Cup. Yeah,
I just think that Man United fans have the excuses loaded for Amorim.
So I guess from your view, like if Amorim finishes 6th. From your view, he would have done an amazing job because of how low the quality in that squad is.
Yeah, if Amorim can turn around
if he gets Europa League, for example,
if he could turn around the mentality of the club, of the squad, and get the players to finish 6th, I think that is the best that they could do, and that would be a good job for him. Yeah,
amazing. If the quality of the squad is that low,
well, we both agree that they have the 6th best squadish in the league.
Yeah,
so
but I think that if they have the 6th best squad in the league and they finish lower than that, then Amorim hasn't done what he should have done.
Yeah, that's fair. That's not a bad opinion.
Because as much as we're 9 games into the season, Ten Hag's had the first 9 games. They obviously how many points? It's still only 6 points the gap, right? It's not like it's 15 points or something. It's still only 6 points, so you can easily make that up. And across the whole season, Ten Hag probably would have finished 7th, 8th, around that, maybe 9th.
I think similar to what Arsenal fans had done and to what other clubs and fans have done when a manager has gone halfway through the season, the goalposts are already there to be shifted. Amorim could finish 6th and he would have done a good job. I think Man United fans would take an Amorim 8th place if they thought that they saw the signs that they weren't seeing under Ten Hag. If they thought that they saw the signs of a serious manager who has a system and a style of play, and obviously he just needs to get the pieces in place, because Arsenal had that with Arteta, where he was finishing 8th, but we were hearing what we wanted to hear because it was contrast to what Emery was saying.
Yeah, but
we were seeing what we wanted to see.
I don't think we were looking at Arteta like he's a serious manager.
I don't think Man United are looking at Amorim like he's a serious manager.
Yeah, but you've just said that if they finish 8th and they think he's a serious manager and stuff, if he finishes 8th, I don't think they look at him like he's a serious manager.
I'm saying if he finishes 8th, but they see the signs that they want to see, the opposite to Ten Hag, literally all Man United fans are crying out for is an identity and a style of play.
Style of play.
So I think they could take him finishing 8th, finishing 7th, finishing basically lower than 6th, and they will take it on the chin if they feel like they've seen enough of an identity and style of play that could carry him into next season. I feel like if by the end of the season, even if he finished 6th, but he didn't have a style of play and it was just as chaotic and it was just as loose as Ten Hag, I still think Amorim could be in trouble. Not that he would lose his job, but I don't think he would have won over the fans. I feel like the fans from Man United right now are very easy to win over. Just come in, say the right things, and have a style of play.
But that's to that point. They're very easy to win over. If he comes in and finishes 6th, he will have won them over.
But if he wins them over playing the same, I don't think he'd win them over playing the same chaotic football as Ten Hag. Like I don't think
I don't think Amorim will play that chaotic football. But I think even if he was to, I think Man United fans are fickle enough to see that 6th place finish, and like you say, so easy to win over that they'll see that 6th place finish and they'll think, yeah, we're going in the right direction.
Yeah, no, I put no doubt past Man United fans to like delusionally believe that they're back all of a sudden. Yeah. But I think the majority of Man United fans are clamoring for an identity and style of play, and they would sort of sacrifice their league position to a reasonable extent, top half of the table, if they felt as if, yeah, give this guy a summer window, get rid of this guy, get rid of that guy, give him this guy, give him that guy. We could progress, we could push up the table, we could move on. I feel like Man United fans, they're right at the precipice of the wilderness. Because if it doesn't work with Amaron, then that is for me full on. All right, Man United are in free for all, spiraling.
Well, we did say that about Ten Hag.
What if it doesn't work with Ten Hag? Yeah. But now I think circumstances have changed because that was Glasner and all of this. Now with new ownership. If the ownership has come in and they've not sacked Ten Hag in the summer, but decided to sack him 9 games into the season to then get Amaron in, and then all of a sudden we realize that Amaron wants Xerxes out, and Amaron wants Mount out, and Amaron wants all of these guys out who've just been signed, and then Amaron's got to go, or he's not good enough. That's free for all. For me, that is like, all right, you've done the management change, what Gary Neville was crying out for a couple of years ago. You've done the whole top to bottom management change. You've done the leadership change. You've done the managerial change. You've done the squad change. You've done 3 levels of change.
Yeah.
There's no longer the same players that you guys were cussing out. It's no longer the XY, the Youngs and whoever the players were. It's no longer the manager. It's no longer the board. From top to bottom, you've changed it all.
This is what guys were saying with Ten Hag, though.
But the Ineos factor has literally just come in for the last couple of months. Like Ineos came in earlier this year.
But the guys were saying that Man United fans were saying that Ten Hag's the one, and
I was the one saying I was happy because
and that's what the Ten Hag inners, who are still Ten Hag in till the very end, didn't want him to be sacked because they didn't want to go through the process again.
Yeah, they didn't want to go through the process again. And I was the one saying that Ten Hag has no excuses. He had his summer, he had his players, he had all of this kind of stuff. And that is that. But the Ten Hag era is over. If in this new era, this Amarom era, and I know Man United fans will probably be saying, how are these guys already predicting Amarom's downfall? He's not even managed the first game or whatever. But I think this is such an important signing or managerial change for Manchester United, because if it doesn't work, if there isn't significant progress,
but then they'll move on to the next guy, innit?
By year, they would do. By year 2, by year 3, by pretty much 3 years' time from now, if they're not significantly in a better position than when they were with Ten Hag. And I'm not just talking about winning trophies, just being a top club, top to bottom. I just think that for me, as an individual, would establish them in the wilderness pile of like, all right, yes, they're a big club. Yes, they have all the trophies and deserve all the respect from the yesteryears and Alex Ferguson and all this kind of stuff. But it's been about 10, 15 years of mid and mediocre and up and down. And if it hasn't worked, as I say, new squad, new manager, new leadership, Man United will be back at some point.
But it feels like we're already there. 10, 15 years of mid.
Yeah, the only caveats, and I know Man United fans will use these caveats, are Ineos have just come in and Amorim have just come in.
But I feel like it will be a similar sort of sentiment that if Amorim doesn't work, they'll just move on to the next one. And then we'll be like, oh, if this one doesn't work, then it's free for all.
Well, this isn't about like what people are saying. This is about me.
I think it's just a never-ending cycle.
For me, this is about me personally. I would have seen enough over the last 10, 15 years if Amaron doesn't succeed to be like, yeah, this, I don't know what you call it, man. This fear factor that United used to have, this big club energy that United used to move with.
Yeah.
This, for me, would be the nail in the coffin. And like Ten Hag is obviously a massive, massive part as to why people talk like down on Man United the way they do. But the Ten Hag thing is not an outlier, it's not crazy, but he came in with stocks. He came in as a good manager. He came in to push the club forward, finished third in his first season, won a trophy. So it was like...
That's another thing to remember, is that when Ten Hag came, his stock was high.
Yeah, his stock was high. He was a good manager.
He was very similar to Amorim.
He was, I think he had higher stocks than Amorim, you know?
Yeah.
He was sort of sought after by...
I would say the Portuguese league's a harder league to win than the Dutch league.
Yeah, but I think Ten Hag, like, the good thing he had was that Champions League run. I mean, we get to see that.
Yeah, known for being one of the biggest bottle jobs.
Still had that run, because I shouldn't have been there in the first place. They won at Madrid,
and then they bottled it to Tottenham.
Yeah. But Ten Hag came in with high stocks. Ten Hag came in with high praise, with high spirits, and played well. Achieved a lot in his first season. So there was a lot of like, Man United have finally done it, only to then regress for the next 2 years. So if there is a significant improvement under Amorim, in my personal opinion, if I was to be speaking to Man United fans, I'd be saying, bro, who is at fault now? Who are we really angry at? because everything's changed. The guy that you used to say was the problem, whether it was Jose, whether it was Oli, whether it was this player, whether it was this captain, whether it was because the stadium was leaking, whether it was because Glasner was, I remember it was like Glasner doesn't spend enough money, then Glasner spends too much money recklessly. Like where you're trying to lay the blame, those avenues.
And this will be Ineos's first appointment, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's not just that; it's the manner of how Ineos have done it. If Ineos, as I say, if Ineos like they've decided to get rid of him 9 games into the season to then get a guy from the Portuguese league, yeah. If this doesn't work, if this starts to look shoddy, then Ineos's business looks bad. If Amarom comes in and is like, bro, I need 300, 400, 500 mil, I need to get rid of, and which he probably does, and which he probably needs to get rid of X, Y, and Z guys. It just makes Ineos's summertime decision making look 10 times worse. If Xerxes goes on loan, if Xerxes has to go back to whoever. And I don't even know if Ineos signed Højlund, but any of the Ineos signings, because that was meant to be the whole thing, we make club signings now, not management signings. If all of these guys end up being a management signing, then I think Ineos are cooked.
Well, I think Ugarte will obviously hope he should do well because this is a manager he's played under before.
Yeah.
And looked fairly good under this manager as well.
He's won trophies under this manager. I think the interesting thing
probably knows. So
it's just whether or not Ugarte can actually play football in the Premier League.
And if Amorim's system can translate directly to a Premier League, and can he ask Ugarte to do the same things he was doing? But we'll see, innit? They've got their first game on the weekend against Chelsea. I don't know if Amorim's going to be there for that one, but
I think that's what they were saying. I mean, it's happened so quickly. It seems like Man United are like shoveling him in the door. I feel a bit bad not bad for Ruud, but like I thought Ruud was thinking he would get a longer stint as interim. Like I thought Ruud was thinking he would get like an audition almost for the job.
Yeah, but Ruud should never. Ruud knew when he took the job that Ten Hag was going to get sacked. So it's good that Ruud's not going to get it for a long period of time because he took the assistant manager job thinking.
It was slimy. It was slimy work. But I think if you'd also told Ruud, you'll only get it to manage Man United for a midweek game versus Leicester.
Yeah,
Ruud might have just taken the Burnley job. I think Ruud was,
and so he should have taken the Burnley.
I think Ruud was trying to do some like Game of Thrones. I'm gonna be next to the king.
The Oli interim.
Yeah,
I'll do really well.
Exactly.
Get the job.
Exactly. Which is still nasty work. But,
which is why he deserves this.
Yeah. I'm not Arsenal fan. I'm not the biggest fan of Ruud, but I think we're shocked that Amorim has come around so quickly. I think no one's more shocked than Ruud.
And if Amorim wants to bring his backroom staff,
he will. I think you know what.
Is there a space for Ruud?
Ruud must have. If he knew that Man United were going, he must have had something in his contract that's like, I'll stick around even if,
Yeah, I've heard rumors that apparently he potentially has something.
The same way Man United are looking to make club signings. Ruud should have been a backroom staff, like a club signing. Like it should have been regardless of the manager. Ruud is a part of the backroom staff. Otherwise, why do this dog and pony show?
But we'll move it on. And obviously, yesterday there were the Balon d'Or awards, and Rodri deservedly won the award. In my opinion, I said I thought he would win it. Obviously, I turned out to be right. But there's been a lot of commotion, a lot of guys coming out and saying that he shouldn't have won it and that Vinny should have won it, and guys saying that where's football at and football's over and football's finished. Even players coming out and tweeting, the likes of Camavinga and Chouameni coming out and tweeting that Vinny should have won the Balon d'Or. And to me, all of that is just pathetic. Like, I think Rodri's won it, and to me, he's deservedly won it, and that's it. There's like, you shouldn't really be saying anything more on it. There's nothing more to it. I think the only person, other than maybe Haaland last year, who has a right to feel actually robbed, because that's what they're calling it. They're calling it a robbery. The only person who has a right to feel robbed is Lewandowski, because the year he should have won it, they completely scrapped the Balon d'Or, even though football was still going on and football was still being played. But yeah, I just think overall, I think that kind of commotion and stuff is pathetic. Rodri's won it. He's deservedly won it. Give him his praise, give him his props, and let it be done.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I think Rodri is a deserved winner. I don't think he's the best player in the world. I think Vinny's the best player in the world, or Vinny had the best 2022-2023 season. Context provided, cataloging performances, cataloging stats, cataloging trophies won, goals in finals, all this kind of stuff. I wouldn't go as far as to say it was a robbery that Rodri won it, but I just think for a long time now, the Balon d'Or's sort of always been a bit weird in terms of like the criteria needed to win it, or why such and such person has won it over such and such person. And look, when only one person can win an award, there's always going to be somebody who's felt hard done by, somebody who's felt like I should have won it. This was my season to win it. I think the most pathetic thing, and I was saying to him, I'm ready to give Perez a rookie of the day, is Madrid players and staff and coaches or whoever not turning up to the ceremony just because they're treating it like it's the VMAs or like it's the Oscars, or like, you know how like they do this in I can't remember what award show, but pretty much all of them, when Beyonce or whoever it is not going to win the Grammys, she doesn't turn up to the Grammys.
Yeah.
You know, this is how Madrid are cheating it, where it's like, oh, if I'm not winning, I'm not turning up. And look, everybody has their own things to say. Obviously, Arsene Wenger and all these guys have had their quotes on the Ballon d'Or as a concept. We shouldn't do individual trophies, whatever. But I just feel it's poor from Madrid. It's pathetic from Madrid, because if they had won it, Man City players would have turned up, and everybody else would have turned up to celebrate them. Yeah. So they could have turned up to celebrate.
It's not something we've seen before.
Not to this extent.
Where guys just haven't turned up to the Balon d'Or ceremony because they're not going to win it.
Not to this extent, but
Pep said even Haaland went last year.
Yeah. But you know what, man? I think a lot of this stuff is just like, it really is football politics to the highest order. Like, I as much as I'm here telling you that they should have turned up, and I think it's pathetic that they didn't turn up and all this kind of stuff, like, you know, it's not a gun to their head that they need to be there, and if they don't feel as if they want to be there, they're not there. I think the only pathetic thing, or the most pathetic thing for me, this is why I give it to Perez. It's not players individually can say I don't want to go to this ceremony, but it's if your CEO or your boss makes a unilateral call for all of you, saying that no, we ain't going because they ain't giving us the award. I think that is pathetic. If each individual player, Tremaine, Bellingham, had all like come together and said, I don't want to go, I'd rather do this, I'd rather rest, be in rehab, that's fine. That's whatever. You don't need to be at the ceremonies. But when Perez makes a boss call, and that's for me is when I'm like, that's a little bit like slimy. And in terms of the award itself, man, and I think I was saying this last year when Haaland won it. I thought Haaland was robbed last year. Sorry, when Messi won it. I thought Haaland was robbed last year for his debut season, 50 goals, all this kind of stuff. But who wins this award, it seems to me for the last couple of years almost isn't the best player in the world. It's sort of the best story, or it's like, you know, the best narrative, or whatever it might be, sort of seems to be the Balon d'Or winner. And it is what it is. I feel like you care about it as much as you care about these individual trophies. Like we don't make this kind of mess, because the FIFA Player of the Year awards and that kind of stuff, I feel like they always botch those awards. Like the FIFA Team of the Year awards, they always botch those awards. Like there's always a ridiculous name in the FIFA Team of the Year, or somebody
even the PFA Player of the Year they botch.
Yeah, so there's always this kind of stuff. I do think that the outrage this year was like particularly high and particularly cringy. But I also do feel for Vinny, because I feel like a lot of it is going to fall at his feet, when I don't think it was necessarily him instigating this outrage. Like, if Vinny was coming out demanding people show him respect, or demanding people give him the award, or demanding that people don't turn up to the ceremony or whatever, label him the crybaby, label him the provocateur, label him the this, label him the that. I do think that there is a little bit of like the goalpost move for Vinny. Like Vinny will do something that every other footballer does, and he'll get pelted for it. And it is what it is. I don't think, I'll go on record saying, I think Vinny will win this award at some point in his career.
Yeah.
I feel like the minute Vinny does anything for Brazil, he'll probably win the award, regardless of what he's done in the league or in the Champions League. I feel like Brazil haven't won a trophy in so long that when he does it for Brazil, he'll get it. But he will probably snub somebody else to get it. And I understand the outrage online as well, because I feel like when people say football is dead, I feel like they say it, well, in this context, I feel like they say it because it doesn't always add up. It doesn't always add up. Like, Rodri's had better years than he's had. Rodri's won more prestigious awards, not more prestigious awards, but like he's been PFA Player of the Year discussions. He's been Premier League Player of the Year discussions. He's been all of this kind of stuff. And he sort of wins it on the year that he was very, very, very good and won an international trophy.
The best midfielder in the world, I think.
Yeah. And I would agree with that. But I don't think it means he's the best player in the world. I think as well, the Balon d'Or, I don't know if they will ever change, but I feel like they will try and do something a little bit different next year to avoid this, like, I don't know, man.
I think they should just make it a positional thing. Because I think trying to compare forwards and midfielders and defenders, and you said before that for you kind of always want to see an attacker win it. There's an attacker bias.
There is an attacker bias, and I think the reason there's an attacker bias is because Balon d'Or created that attacker bias. Balon d'Or was only giving it to attackers for God knows how long. Cannavaro is the only one defender we know to win it. Rodri's like damn near the only midfielder who's a DM to win it. Everybody else is a 10, a winger, or a striker.
Yeah.
So it's like Balon d'Or created this prestige of this is the best player in the world. The best player in the world he plays football like Zidane. He plays football like Ronaldinho. He plays football like Messi. He plays football like Ronaldo. And then when we have Vinny, who some might say doesn't play football like any of those guys anyway, but Vinny is quote unquote the closest thing we have to the pure magical footballers of the Zidane ilk, of the Ronaldo ilk, of the Messi ilk. And now we're giving it to Rodri as a DM. So it's one of these things where it's like, well, look, if Balon d'Or is setting a new precedent, if they're being more inclusive, if they're trying to show that the game has evolved and, Rodri's, contributions to title winning teams is as important as Vinny's goals or Vinny's whatever, that's a fair point to make. And I'm not here against that point, but I just feel like the precedent has been set by them already. And look, they can change it if they want to, but I feel like people will always be angry if we are going to move away from rewarding what we ultimately have come to see in football, which is entertainment, goals in games, sort of wow factor. And I would always, my personal bias, I'd always lean to a player that, for personal awards, individual awards, that gives me that over like, just a pure, efficient, effective monster, which Rodri is. Rodri deserves almost, I feel like, every other award.
Well, I think it just depends on the cat. Like most people, it's very common for people to like the attacking play, like the guys that score the goals and give them the excitement. That's very common. That's very like known. But you can also appreciate and love what a number 6 does, or what a certain guy in this position does, or that position does.
I don't think
that can also bring you joy watching a game as well.
Yeah.
Thomas Partey is a big guy for that. When Thomas Partey was balling in that 22-23 season, he was the guy I was going to the Emirates to watch.
Yeah, but the difference is you don't fly everybody to France and make a whole fucking song and dance about how well Thomas Partey was doing. And we love Thomas Partey. I think that the thing is,
who did that?
That's what the Balon d'Or ceremony is. Like, you don't make a whole song and dance. Like, I agree. People can come to football to watch DMs, to watch goalkeepers, to watch right backs do certain things, to watch whatever. Yeah. And that's fine. But you've, as the Balon d'Or, created this prestige and focused it on attacking players. And every year you've flown out the best attacking players to France or wherever they host the ceremony.
But I think the best players have just been attacking players.
But I don't think I think Vieira and all these other DMs, Makelele and all these other DMs in the past, have been equally as important pieces to their team as Rodri has been to his Man City teams, but they never once had a sniff of winning this award. Yeah. And I just think if
football's changed.
If you're gonna do the dog and pony show, I would hope it's for more than just the like, pirouettes and the like.
And I did say
rondos,
because the history and the evidence is there to be seen, that when there's an international tournament, that holds major weight in the Balon d'Or. And that's why I said that I thought Rodri would win it, because if you win a major tournament, you do well in a major tournament or whatnot, especially if the guy you're competing against didn't do that well, it's going to be pretty obvious that that person might then go and win it. And the Ballon d'Or has set that precedent, rightly or wrongly. That's the precedent that's been set. The evidence is there to see.
Yeah, I agree with that. But then I think it's like, well, what international trophies weigh more? Is a Copa America less as important as a Euros? Because there was guys that won Copa America and their league tournament, and did very well in the Champions League, but sort of went in and around top spot. I agree. Look, international tournaments have always seemingly weighed more, and I guess there's even sort of caveats within that. Like, if you come from a smaller country, it means more if you do well. You don't even need to win it if you do well in the tournament. But and this isn't a question that we have the answer to, but it's just like, I don't even necessarily weigh international tournaments more than I would weigh a Champions League. I think they're both equally as hard to win. I understand the gravitas of an international tournament, but yeah, I just
That's why I said rightly or wrongly. Like, I don't know whether to put more weight on Champions League or international tournament. I just know that the Ballon d'Or put more weight on international tournament.
Yeah. I think
whether they should or not, I don't know.
Ultimately, it comes down to this, bro. The Ballon d'Or is as important as you make it. The list of people that have won the Ballon d'Or is very impressive. The list of people who haven't won the Ballon d'Or is equally as impressive. Yeah. There's like, I'll always come back to the Arsene Wenger quote of like, don't celebrate individual trophies and da. Like, there are people that have that team mentality of like, I'm just here for the team. They're not necessarily going to chase the numbers. They're not necessarily going to chase the individual accolades. And there's going to be certain people that's what they're in it for, And in respect to the Vinny and Rodri thing, like, I don't think anybody should say it's a robbery, but I'm not going to get onto anybody, or I'm not going to get onto Vinny if he feels as if he's been robbed, or if people feel as if Vinny's been robbed. I will say on record as well, I think what didn't help Vinny was everybody crowning him last week, and I mean everybody. Once he scored that hat-trick versus Dortmund, there wasn't a soul in this world that didn't think Vinny was going to win the Balon d'Or. Whether or not he deserved it is a different thing.
Everyone was just playing the Rio Ferdinand clip.
But there wasn't a soul in this world who didn't think he was gonna win it. I refreshed my YouTube page that week, and it was all why Vinny's why he's gonna be the best player in the world, why Monday Vinny's gonna win the Ballon d'Or. So we'll have to see. Like, I know next year the goalpost will be moved, and whoever wins the Ballon d'Or next year, there'll be a player who's had an equally as, I say next year, I mean like 2025, who'll be like an equally as great season as the Rodris and the Judes have had this year, and we'll be sitting here again saying, I can't believe they've snubbed this guy when he scored X amount of goals or he won.
I mean, we already did that last year.
It will go on. I feel like, and I'll also give Ballon d'Or, and this is like, I'm skipping ahead, but I'll clown Ballon d'Or. I feel like Ballon d'Or clowning Vinny is just so tasteless. Like, the official Ballon d'Or page posting memes about Vinny, and on the stream posting stuff about Vinny. I just think that is like, it's as tasteless as Vinny not turning up to the event, and it's just clear mudslinging between Real Madrid and whoever the fuck runs Ballon d'Or. So we'll see. I just think this, to be fair, this is actually, apart from the Messi one last year, it's probably been one of the more interesting, in the sense of like, people are actually speaking about it. Because I think for a while now, it was a, by the way, this person won Ballon d'Or. By the way, this person, rather than like an actual, like, let's sit down and talk about this topic of Ballon d'Or.
I think that the bottom line for me is that it's not a robbery. Like, just very, very bluntly, it's not a robbery. In my opinion, I think Rodri deserved to win it. I think if Vinny had won it, I would have said Vinny deserved to win it. And I wouldn't have expected Rodri to, or Man City players to behave like Rodri should have won it, and that it was wrong that he hasn't won it. I think both of them deserve to win it, and obviously Rodri has won it, mainly because I think he won the international tournament. I think if there had not been an international tournament in this year and they both had the same year, I think Vinny probably would have gone on to win it. But I think from a while ago, from last year, you could see the goalposts moving, and you could see I think the goalposts move pretty consistently with how they judge it, and I think they kind of have to because if you're not going to give it to an attacker, then guys are going to say the goalposts are moving because now you're judging it based on a DM being able to play these passes or being this important to their team and whatever. Um, so I think overall, look, there's just congratulations to Rodri.
I think congratulations to Vinny too. You've had a phenomenal year.
Yeah.
And obviously, Rodri can't win it next year, so
Yeah,
for
we may as well move on from that to El Clasico.
Yeah,
4-0 Barcelona run out winners in the Bernabeu. Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, Lewandowski, the front line all balling. And it was a big shock, I think, for Real Madrid to get slapped like that in the Bernabeu. With the players they had on the pitch and the team they had. And yeah, Barcelona just ran riot. We watched that game.
yeah. Barca, yeah, man. I mean, Barca are a good team. It was weird. They had like the game. Honestly, I felt like should have actually not ended 4-0 Madrid, but could have been 4-0 by halftime to Madrid. The amount of times Real Madrid were in behind, but they were offside. Mbappe had the ball in the back of the net. All of this kind of stuff. And then in the second half, it just did not go.
Capitulation.
Yeah, it just did not go Madrid's way. I think the result is bad. The scoreline is bad. Losing 4-0 is bad. The Classico was hyped up, as it always is. But I actually don't think it's the end of the world for Madrid. Like it's still early on in the season. And I also think that this Balon d'Or stuff will hopefully galvanize the team. I feel like Carlo, I know what Arteta would do if he was Carlo. He would be saying, look, it's us versus them. They all want you to lose. And he would try and use it as like a motivational tool. And the points tally isn't terrible between Barca and Madrid. I think Barca might be 6 points ahead of Madrid or something like that right now. But it means for sure Madrid have to go and win at the Camp Nou.
Yeah.
Like have to go and win. Yesterday was on the weekend was a terrible day.
Embarrassing.
Terrible day for Real Madrid. Like there's no sugarcoating it. But look, they had some injuries. Courtois was out, obviously. Cameron's getting his first couple of minutes. Vasquez is playing right back. Carvajal's been out. So I think they'll try and lick their wounds quickly, try and shuffle on as many excuses as possible. But ultimately, Madrid are going to have to go on a run. And they didn't even have the best start in the Champions League. It's not like Madrid have been balling this season, especially how they were playing last year. But this is also kind of what they do. Come January, they find something together, and it will be a more interesting La Liga season because Madrid kind of had it wrapped up from time last year. They only lost one game.
Yeah.
To Atletico Madrid.
And to go and win 4-0 in the Bernabeu is some statement from Hansi Flick.
I was going to say, I think the game is more interesting from a Barcelona perspective than it was a Real Madrid. I don't necessarily learn anything new about Madrid, but what I did learn about Barcelona was this is no flash in the pan performances.
Yeah.
These last couple of weeks, since the start of the season, these are no like.
Well, but you go and do that to Real Madrid in the Bernabeu. There's not many bigger statements than that.
I mean, they beat Bayern Munich 3 days earlier.
Yeah.
4-1.
Yeah.
Like Barcelona have been scoring goals all season. They're slapping teams 5-0, 5-2, 4-2, whatever it is. And maybe I was hoping that once they started to buck some of these bigger teams, it would become a little bit tricky for them. Goals would dry up. People would start to get found out in midfield. But Hansi Flick has really got those guys firing on all cylinders. And barring an injury to like Rafinha or Lamine Yamal, that front three is going to be frightening. That front three is going to be really frightening.
And the Madrid team on paper looked better. Looked like this 11 players.
It wasn't on paper. It was in real life too. For the first half, it's just as soon as they came out for that second half and Lewandowski got those two quick goals, it was over.
Just capitulation, just complete dominance from Barcelona in that second half. Taught Madrid a lesson in the Bernabeu as well. going to be an embarrassing one, hard one to take for the Real Madrid fans. But we'll move it on to Arsenal versus Liverpool. Premier League clash on the weekend at the Emirates. And it's an interesting one to analyze because before the game, I was saying Arsenal have to win this game. But given the team that we had out there, or the team at least that finished the game, in particular the back four of Partey, White, Kyrgios, and Lewis Skelly, I actually thought it was a good performance from Arsenal. With a makeshift team, I actually think they did all right.
I thought the first half was good, and I thought the second half was to be expected with the injuries and everything else that went on. But kind of you going into the game, I was saying it was a must win. I wasn't really trying to hear, I'll take a draw. You know, I wasn't really trying to hear that coming after the loss of Bournemouth. And just in general, I think we're a better team than Liverpool.
Yeah,
like I think we're a better. We shouldn't be going into games at home versus Liverpool saying I'll take a draw because we're better than them. And I think the first half displayed that. It wasn't even our fully sort of starting 11, but we had enough quality players out there to show them, or at least to show Slots, that, you know, once you start going up and up and up the table, like the competition becomes really stiff. And I liked what Slot had to say when he was like, you know what, it's probably the first team that's been better than us that we played that's been better than us. But the second half was, I would like, yeah, it's tough, innit? Because it's tough to analyze because Gabriel came off. Once Gabriel came off,
it changed.
It changed, and I agree with some of the narrative that like we weren't cutthroat, like we weren't. It's almost as if we were trying to accept this game either has to end 2-1 or 2-2.
Yeah.
And that we weren't as front-footed as I would have liked us to be. We were 10 yards deeper than I would have liked us to be, but I think that comes with losing your leader at the back. It comes with Gabriel not screaming to guys to get up or to hold the line 10 yards further up on the pitch than we should. But yeah, I will take a draw because it doesn't kill us. We haven't lost another game. I'm heavy on watching our losses this season.
Yeah.
And I just hope that we can replicate that first half. If we replicate that first half versus many other teams in the league, we'll win a lot of games.
Yeah. Well, we need to get our players back as well.
Yeah.
And we, like you say, that the second half, it was just a bit frustrating that we didn't go and carry on what we were doing in the first half, because in the first half we were so much better than Liverpool. But a couple of points: Saka 50th Premier League goal.
Yeah.
Unbelievable goal, world class. I didn't even actually clock that he actually nutmegs Robertson.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like has to be expected with Saka now, isn't it? Scoring big goals in big games.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a great goal.
It's a great goal. The finish for me is the best part. I know the make is cold, and the ball in behind as well from Ben White, he deserves his credit. But I think that finish, like, I love those ones. When there's no doubt in Saka's mind where this ball is ending up. The keeper doesn't have a chance.
Can't even move.
He can't even get himself set. Whatever it is. And I think as well the near post factor of it. We're not even blaming the keeper. Not one person has said.
Yeah.
Not one person has said, "Oh, you shouldn't get beat there." Or
well, it's past him before he can move.
I'd love those emphatic ones, and the celly as well. The celebration. It just lets you know kind of where Saka is mentally. Like Saka is
if you didn't already know.
Yeah, he is at that point where he's like, I can do this to anybody.
Yeah,
and I think I don't like. We could always eulogize about Saka, but then also at the same time, like, if you don't know, you're at this point choosing to be a biased fan or choosing to stay on the side of your agenda or narrative. And I've seen a lot more general consensus of how good Saka is this season, to be honest. So I don't even necessarily feel the need to go so hard for him. All I'll say is, once Saka was starting, and I knew Saka was starting, I absolutely knew that was 2 goals for us in this game.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, look, we've said a lot of Saka, so I don't think too much more needs to be said. I just thought we'd give him a bit of time on his goal because it was such a great goal. I loved watching that goal. And our second goal was scored by Mikel Merino.
Now
his first goal.
This I have time for.
Yeah, we haven't spoken about Merino.
Yeah, this I have time for. I thought, and I said this to you, the goal, good goal, great goal. Declan Rice, David Beckham.
Yeah.
I can't tell the difference. I don't know who's who. Declan Rice puts it on a sixpence.
The Declan Rice balls into the box.
He puts it on a
so serious.
He puts on a sixpence.
So serious
every time. The our attacker has nothing else to do but score.
Yeah, Marino should have had one before.
yeah. He has nothing else to do but score. But beyond just a goal for Marino, which is also another trait that I like from our new signings, goals in big games.
Mm-hmm.
No, like, let's get your beak wet at Southampton.
Yeah.
No, let's get your beak wet at Leicester.
We haven't got time for that. These need to come in the title games.
You could even say the same for Timber. Wasn't a goal, but like the Aston Villa away. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you can hack. You can hang
so
at this
you're
level.
already at the level.
Yeah. I think his all-round game was very good. He had that moment in the first half where he slipped, kind of,
miscontrol. Yeah.
But beyond that, I just thought that this is exactly what I'm looking for in the midfield. And I was so on Marino when we came in. I wasn't necessarily convinced. I was hoping for a big name, 80, 100 mil player to come in, do the things. But I can tell very early on that Marino is just going to be an consummate professional in there. And everything that you would expect of a 6'2" midfielder, Spanish
midfielder, yeah,
he will do.
Yeah.
He'll be tidy on the ball.
Yeah.
He'll work hard. He'll know positionally where he needs to be, communicate with Rice and whoever else, fight for the jewels, all the stuff that we've heard. I thought this was the game where I saw it the most in terms of like complete package, because I felt like in all the other games it was bits and bobs.
And he's already scoring big goals.
I thought this was a very, very good performance for Marino, and like one of them ones where it's like, all right, you can be trusted.
Yeah.
You can be trusted in the big games to come, in the crunch times. We're gonna have these 3-game stretches like next week. We've got Newcastle, we've got Inter Milan, we've got Chelsea. Yeah. Marino will, if not start all of those games, get heavy minutes in all of those games. And that's kind of my happiest takeaway from the Liverpool game, is I'm not worried about Marino starting Inter away. I'm not worried about Marino starting Chelsea.
Newcastle or Chelsea, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, like I was saying with Marino, the profile is what we need, right? Like, he fits the profile pretty much perfectly of that guy who can help Declan Rice progress the ball, who can win his duels, be good defensively, play further up the pitch, get the ball on the half turn, all of that. But it's whether or not he can actually operate at that level and do those things in the Premier League in these big games. And Sunday was a good test, and he showed it.
I was worried that he wouldn't want it, like want the jewels, and not want the jewels, but like
once I saw the first interview, I knew.
I was worried that he wouldn't, like, I don't know, want it is not the right
have the physical capability to do it.
To like, yeah. And as I say, I like, there's times when he's tracking back. Like, it's not big to shout about a player tracking back his midfielder. He needs to get into position or whatever, but he's sprinting back.
Yeah.
Like, he's not like, languishing back, trying to make sure that he is sprinting back. And that's what I'm saying about being a professional. If he has that, like, I'm going to apply myself, he will succeed at Arsenal.
Yeah. Agreed. And from a great midfield performance to a not so great midfield performance, Crystal Palace versus Tottenham deserved their own section this week, because Oliver Glasner got his first win.
We called this as well. We
did say this. Go watch our pod from last week.
The rot, I think the exact words were, the rot has to stop somewhere. And I like this Dr. Tottenham thing. I'm surprised I didn't know about this sooner.
Yeah.
But like, this Dr. Tottenham thing is so funny because of how true it rings. Man.
And we said that it would only work if Glasner was able to create the siege mentality in the team.
Yeah.
And Gay said after the game, he was like, the manager's been saying all week that when the chips are down, it's all about how you react and how you carry yourself. And Gay obviously understood the assignment. All of them, I didn't watch the game, but from all the Tottenham fans I've heard speak about it, it was a mauling.
Yeah,
Crystal Palace were all over them.
Crystal Palace were on top of them. I think as well, Glasner made some of the better managerial decisions. He benched Eddie. He got Mateta. He almost went back to like a familiar Palace, not trying to play with two tens. Not a Palace trying to play with two tens.
I said last week, no more Kamada.
Yeah.
Leave Kamada out.
There wasn't any of the like hipster funny business going on. It was Mateta up top. It was Eze. It was Wharton in midfield. Gehi Lacroix. Munoz. So it was almost a traditional team, and obviously, like Tottenham still gave Crystal Palace the goal.
From playing out.
Romero, ridiculous ball. Van der Ven. I don't know what decision making that is. Yeah, and good quality from Eze, good finish from Mateta. But I think the most damning thing for Tottenham, and I said this about their loss to Brighton, when Tottenham buck these teams and they're not necessarily known for keeping clean sheets or stopping guys, like they play Tottenham and it's shutout.
Yeah.
You're not getting any goals.
Yeah.
So if I was a Tottenham fan, that would be my biggest worry.
And it didn't even look like Tottenham had a lot of chances.
I haven't watched all of the Crystal Palace games, but that could be their first clean sheet of the season.
I think it is.
That could honestly be their first clean sheet of the season. And like, that shouldn't be happening.
No.
That shouldn't be happening if a team is known for leaking goals and all of this kind of stuff. Tottenham can even lose the game, but let it be a 2-1. Don't let Crystal Palace get the complete shutout domination. Crystal Palace's season starts now.
Yeah,
that's what Glasner's saying,
and that's always the thing with Tottenham, isn't it? Even Tottenham, it's always one step forward, two steps back.
And this is the wider conversation with Ange. Is like, I thought under Ten Hag, Man United would be a 1 win in like 4 weeks, 5 weeks type of team. Yeah, Ange, his wins are more frequent, but Ange is literally like 1 week win, 1 week draw, 1 week loss. Rinse, repeat.
Yeah,
1 week win, 1 week draw, one. Well,
they've got 4 wins, 4 losses in the league. That's their record. And he chose a midfield of Bissouma, Maddison, and Kulusevski, which we've said on this podcast. Away from home, that should never work. And that's another reason why I said that Ten Hag should have been sacked after the Tottenham game, because Ange went to Trafford, big Old Trafford, played Bentancur, Madders, and Kulu.
It's probably what gave him the hype. It's probably what gave him the.
So for Ange to go and do, he did that at Brighton, and it cost him. He did it again against Palace, and it's good that isn't working.
Yeah, Tottenham. The questions are starting to be asked about Ange. No one's like.
They're whispering it quietly.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the best way to put it. No one's coming out and saying Ange out. No one's taking a forceful stance. Yeah.
But it's in the back of their mind.
It's in the back. It's like, all right, well, how long is this going to go on for? And 100%. I think the benefit to Ange, though, is he does play good stuff. Tottenham games are semi-interesting to watch, but this is a results-based business, and Ange has doubled down about winning trophies. They've got Man City tomorrow in the Cup. Like, I think the Carabao Cup is their best chance of winning a trophy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Conference League is there.
Europa League, yeah.
Are they in Europa?
Tottenham.
Yeah, they are in Europa. Yeah. Sorry, the teams that they've been playing of.
Yeah, it's been Conference League teams.
have been weird.
But no, the Carabao Cup for sure. And that's one of their best chances.
I just feel like this kind of stuff Tottenham fans are holding out for now. But if you have these, quote unquote, embarrassing loss, but if you have these kind of shutouts in the Conference League, some next team that haven't kept a clean sheet, have been struggling for points, or 14th in the domestic league, and you don't win the Carabao, or whatever it is. Not that Ange will be gone by the end of the season, but we will be looking at Ange and like all of this promise, all of this hype, the start of last season, doubling down on the trophies of this season, and
it's like, where are they actually going? What's this really building to?
The same thing I was saying a couple pods ago about don't let Maresca finish above Ange, don't let Maresca finish above Ten Hag. Ten Hag is gone. Don't let Amorim.
Yeah. If Amorim finishes above Ange,
that's it. That's the nail in the coffin. That's the nail in the coffin. Style of play, no style of play. Good players. Good January window.
United are only 2 points behind Tottenham.
Good January window. No good January window. No January window. Whatever happens, if Amorim comes in and finishes ahead of Ange in the, I can't even say first year of his project, first half season, three-quarter season of his project. Yeah. Then Ange's got some serious questions. And I know Tottenham fans already think that they have a better squad than Man United. So
yeah,
it's not.
There should be no excuses.
Exactly. It's not the squad excuse.
And they rate Ange, but it'll be interesting. Tottenham have got Villa on the weekend after Man City in the Carabao Cup, so big week for them. But MVPs and rookies of the week. A couple MVPs I'll reel off quickly. Chris Wood, 2 goals on Friday night against Leicester.
Yeah.
Shout out Chris Wood. And Buemo, 2 goals against Ipswich. In a 90-minute game that just tells you exactly why Ipswich are going to go down. Gary O'Neill for the Wolves fight back.
Yeah.
Got their point. I thought at 2-0 Brighton, I was thought, damn, Gary O'Neill's going to get sacked. And they came back with the 2-2. And Hamza Chimaev. I've been waiting for you to fight for a long time, and you did not let me down.
Yeah. A very good fight. I'd give Lopetegui an MVP for winning El Clasico. Not necessarily for anything else, but you your job was on the line, and it was the him or me situation.
Yeah, it literally was,
and it was him.
Yeah,
and it was him. So I'll give him credit for that. I will give. I want to say Bowen, but not really. But yes, I love a player like when West Ham got that penalty. I looked at Somerville with the ball in his hands, and I thought, no, Somerville can't take this. No. What are we doing?
That's getting over the bar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I want to give Bowen a shout out just because, scoring a penalty, that's what you do. But I've seen these teams. I've seen Evan Nilsson and Cameron Archer, when they have a chance to buck these top teams, squander it from the spot. Pressure pen, put it home, keep your manager alive, move on.
Get the 3 points.
Yeah. Like, yes, you're doing your job, but ratings for not making a meal out of it. Bottom corner.
It's a pressure pen.
Boom.
Yeah.
United 100th minute.
Yeah, goalkeeper's gone the right way as well.
Yeah, it's a good pen. I got to give some Barcelona players, Hansi Flick, Lewandowski, we already said, Lamau, Rafinha on a heater, Rafinha hat-trick midweek, goals again on the weekend. There was somebody else I was going to give an MVP to. No, more my rookies.
Palmer.
Yeah, Palmer had a very good game.
It was a ridiculous pass.
Palmer had a very good game.
For Jackson's goal.
Saka, to be fair, just coming back, bro.
Yep.
Big love. Thomas Partey. Thomas.
Right back.
Best right back in the league?
Well, he was the best fullback on the pitch.
Well, I do have a lot of love and respect for Thomas Partey. Like, it's been an emotional journey, and to still see you year 5, year 4 of your contract now doing 90 after 90 right back midfield doesn't matter, playing at a level
we've never seen.
Yeah,
before.
exactly. For me as a fan who's had stocks in you for a while now, it's good to see. A lot of people did not think he would be starting for us or playing for us as regularly as he is at this point into the season. So I also didn't think Thomas Partey was the I'm just gonna shut the fuck up and play anywhere type of guy. You know? But I'll give him an MVP because how Diaz has not cooked him. Yes, Diaz got an assist, but how Diaz has not cooked him in 90 minutes. How Gakpo has not cooked him in 90 minutes.
Yeah,
you know,
big performance.
Yeah, 100%. We've already given Mourinho an MVP.
Yep.
No.
Rookies.
I had Perez.
Yep.
I'll give a rookie to who was the main card? Oh, it was Holloway. Topuria needs an MVP, by the way.
Yeah.
I'll also give Ramos an MVP for dodging the Bernabeu.
Yeah.
He must have saw the signs. Must have had his third eye open. How did he know?
I've given a rookie to Ben Simmons.
Yeah, I mean,
because we watched that fourth quarter when the ball's in Ben Simmons' hand and the shot's right there.
I don't think if you give Ben Simmons you would give him a rookie every week. He'd give an MVP for me, actually, for still somehow keeping up this facade.
No, but I've actually watched Ben Simmons this weekend, so I can give him.
You can give him a rookie. I agree.
Knowing that play that we saw.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
When
it's
the
ridiculous.
Ball comes to him
to me, to you, under the.
What's going on? You're 6'10". You're right. I could give it to him, but I've actually seen it this week.
I'm giving him an MVP for keeping up the facade of wanting to be a basketball player. I am a true believer now. Ben Simmons doesn't really want to play basketball. When the contract is, he could be the guy. I don't know how old he is, but he could be the guy to retire at 28.
Yeah. I could see that.
And he could be an Australian NBA analyst. Go on TV.
Yeah. Because they won't let him on the ESPN or with Shaq and Charles Barkley.
I'll give LeBron an MVP as well. LeBron, I know he lost to the Suns yesterday, but the game before, like, I don't know how he's still getting 32, 14 and 11, triple doubles.
Oh, Paolo Banchero.
Yeah, 50-point game.
I saw the highlights of that. Wow, what a performance!
First round pick. That's what they're meant to do.
Yeah, but you've given Ben Simmons an MVP.
No, because the facade of wanting to play ball. The Ben Simmons, like, I think he will retire at Brooklyn. That however,
we might have to do a Ben Simmons
pod
at some point, because the Ben Simmons story is.
I'll also give and this is a niche one to all you MLB fans out there. I'll give Freddie Freeman. I told you recently I've been getting into MLB. Basically, the LA Dodgers are like 3-0 up in the final playoff series to win the title. I think the last game might be tomorrow night, whenever it is. But they're playing like their old rival, the New York Yankees.
Yeah,
they're up 3-0. But Freddie Freeman he's got like a home run in every game. Okay. I've been seeing the highlights. He's doing the things.
Yep.
On a serious level.
You showed me him hitting the
walk-off home run.
Yeah.
So I think they've played 2 games since, and he's got a home run in both games.
Okay.
And it's some serious stuff. But that's it, man.
Okay. Well, look, thank you guys for listening. Let us know what you guys think of the Balon d'Or. Who should have won? Is it a robbery?
Yeah, definitely.
How they judge it. Let us know what you think of Amorim, what Amorim's gonna do. And we'll be back next week, and hopefully we should be back with a top 10 next week. But thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week. Peace.